Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Coons Cafe. Can we serve you one responsible 2, 3, or 4 before we talk sports? Well, we're going to, and we're going to tell you exactly what these brews are all about. Here's the manager, Kristen Calandra. Up first, we have
Omegong's Lovely Dark and Deep. It is an oatmeal stout, which is perfect for this kind of weather. It's one of those that kind of warms you from the inside, and it sits with you, so keeps you nice and warm when it's nice and cold outside.
Wilson McGinley, Frank Fuhrer make it all possible. And up next on our hit parade, you know this name.
All right, now this is Dogfish Head 60 Minute. This is one of my go-tos if I'm just can't decide on what beer I want that day. It's an easy decision. It's always a good beer.
And a little Voodoo.
Voodoo from Meadville. They have a poorhouse out at Homestead. That's their love child. It is a Belgian-style ale that's aged on different fruits, like passion fruit, cherries, and stuff like that.
There you have it. And we've got one more before we talk sports, and it is
the current Sam Adams Seasonal. It's Cold Snap. It's a white ale with spices.
There you have it, folks. Now, we're not going to break the cold snap. It's going to be around for a while, but we're going to warm things up with some great sports conversation. Mr. Diolis, to center stage, please. Here he is, my consigliere. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Diolis, Diolis Law and Vantage Management Group. His lovely wife, Pamela, of course, sip and paint in Pittsburgh. But we're going to sip a little brew after we get done talking sports. We're at the Coons Cafe. Before we get to that, let's talk about the number 11 Virginia squad that thought they had one in the bank, but then it went to overtime and Pitt ran away with it.
Yeah, an interesting ballgame for the Panthers. As I was finishing up with the Duquesne Dukes last night, the Panthers were really taking care of some business with the Virginia Cavaliers. A game that Pitt had locked up. They end up having a kid hit a three-pointer at the buzzer to take them into overtime. A lot of times that gets you to a point where you're thinking, oh my goodness, we can't do this, especially having just lost to Notre Dame. Panthers come in, hit 3 immediate three-pointers in the overtime, end up scoring 18 points in overtime against the best defensive team in the country to end up squeaking out a victory.
Tell me about Jamal Artis. He had the 24 points that led the Panthers. Michael Young has been consistent, averaging about 23 points a game. Ian, let's talk about Jamal Artis.
He has been, a guy who kind of came into that point guard role at Pitt where they didn't have a point guard. They needed somebody, and all of a sudden Stallings comes in and they say, who do we have that can think about playing point guard? Artis steps up and has actually done a fairly nice job for them.
All right, now let's move on to the big game that's coming up on Monday night. It will be number 1 Alabama taking on number 2 Clemson. Bama 14-0, Clemson 13-1. Losers to the University of Pittsburgh. Everybody's talking about Deshaun Watson, the junior. Last year in the national championship game, 478 yards, 40 points. Wasn't enough to win it. But Dabo Swinney, the head coach of the Tigers, said this guy's played big in every game. The only thing people are concerned about, 30 interceptions, 29 games over the last 2 years. But this kid is a flat-out and great football player, runner-up in the Heisman Trophy. Nick Saban said he may be the best player in the country.
Yeah, that's a stretch. I mean, we've seen him make some mistakes, especially when they were playing Pitt. Doesn't have the best decision-making, but as far as pure athletic talent and ability, he's pretty darn good. The kid that's playing for Alabama on the other side, Hurts, is actually probably just as athletic.
He's a freshman, and he was the SEC Player of the Year. How does that happen?
18 years old, Ron, a true freshman. I mean, last year at this time, he's taking algebra in a high school classroom, and now he's playing on the biggest stage of all time.
How do you see that thing unfold in Tampa Monday night?
I like Alabama in that one. I think their defense is just a little bit too strong. Obviously, they will surrender some points, but I think they will ultimately be able to pull that game out in the end.
All right, these guys, coordinators, defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, Anthony Lynn, O-coordinator, Buffalo, Harold Goodwin, offensive coordinator, Arizona, Sean McDermott, defensive coordinator, Carolina, Vance Joseph, defensive coordinator, along with Chris Richard, defensive coordinator, Frank Wright, you may remember him as a quarterback, offensive coordinator with Philadelphia. Why am I mentioning these names along with Kyle Shanahan, Wade Phillips, and even the possibility of Josh McDaniels of New England getting another head coaching job? Buffalo is looking for a head coach. Denver is looking for a head coach. The Los Angeles Rams, San Diego, they're all looking for head coaches. Jacksonville. So what's going to happen?
I think there's some intriguing names in that list that you had. One of them, Harold Goodwin, actually has some Pittsburgh connections. He was the Steelers assistant offensive line coach back in like '07 to '11, somewhere along those areas. Played in the league for a good while. Pretty good football player. And our good friend Ralph Cindrich represented Frank Reich for all those years when he was with the Buffalo Bills, and that's a high quality guy right there, who likely is going to get one of those head coaching jobs. That's a good football coach.
All right, now let's talk a little bit about the Steelers and Dolphins, and we'll have much more Sunday at 11 on the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show with Ted Arnaud and of course Bob Dvorak. Jay Ajayi, this guy can run the football 3 times, twice against Buffalo, once against Steelers. 200 plus yards. Not an anomaly. It wasn't a freak of nature. It actually happened. A lot of people are playing it off. I'm not playing it off. We found out late today Ryan Tannehill will not go. Matt Moore, who has thrown 8 touchdown passes while filling in for Tannehill, will go. He's 32 years of age, but he can play football. But they do have a running game, and at times the Steelers have had issues with that.
They have, and I think a lot of people in analyzing what happened in the Steelers' first game with the Dolphins had a lot of guys who were maybe losing control of their gap control, going in the wrong places, not necessarily playing disciplined. In the last 6 or 7 games that the Steelers have had during this streak, they've been much more disciplined. Their defense has been much stronger, and looks like they should be able to handle and not give up nearly as many yards as they did the first time around.
You know, Frank Fuhrer and, of course, Wilson McGinley stock these great shelves. My throat's a little dry. I think I need a Rooney right now, as a matter of fact. It's been a long day. Fisher 10-6 coming into this game. They beat the Steelers earlier in the year 30-15. Le'Veon Bell, 1,268 yards, 616 receiving yards. Antonio Brown, 106 catches, 1,284 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Big pep rally, Stage AE, Friday. Jerome Bettis is going to be there. Larry Richard, Billy Cardell, comedian actor from Pittsburgh from 5 to 8 is free to the fans. The Rooneys have done so much for their fans, and one thing that I think we need to all appreciate is how they just flat out win year after year after year. There are so many franchises, Cleveland just won, who would love to have just 1 year what the Steelers have done year after year after year.
Yeah, how blessed are we in our city to have, consistently going into January and sometimes even February with the football season. It's such a great city to be in with regard to the sports that we have here. One of the things that we talk about this game coming up, there's a lot of important numbers. You got uniform numbers, 7, 85, 26, 50, all big important numbers for the Steelers. One of the most important numbers that day is going to be 9, and that's the temperature. That's really going to be a cold day. It's going to change a lot of what's going to happen with regard to that game. And hey, we've seen Miami. These kids all played somewhere other than Florida. It's not like they're only Florida residents, but that weather may be a little bit of a shocker to them when they get here.
All right, listen, we got the Giants and Packers also on Sunday at 4:40 on Fox. What do you like in that game?
Believe it or not, as hard a bad year that the Packers have had, Aaron Rodgers has played some of the best football of his career in the last few weeks. I've never been an Eli Manning fan, and it's weird. I mean, the guy wins Super Bowl. He's got a couple of them, and he always comes out with victories. But I really like Aaron Rodgers. I like what the Packers bring to this one. Look for an upset there.
All right, Saturday, where it all begins. Oakland and Houston, ESPN, 4:35. I mean, Houston, because of obviously the quarterback situation with Oakland, or...
No, I'm with you on that one. It's weird, Rob. In Pittsburgh, we haven't really had a chance to see much of the Texans this year, so they're kind of an unknown commodity for the casual fan around here. But that's a really good football team, and their defense is fantastic, even without J.J. Watt.
All right, 8:15 NBC on Saturday. Detroit will be at CenturyLink Field taking on Seattle. Russell Wilson earlier today said he's taking the knee brace off, so he can scoot. We know he can throw. It could be a long day for the Detroit defense.
It will be. And, there were people talking today about Matt Stafford, and he's got an injured index finger that's causing a little bit of a problem with his accuracy, especially on the deep ball. That may be a real issue, especially when you get that cold weather and you need the big, strong hands to control the football, and that may be an issue for him in Seattle.
Why have the Penguins been off, it seems like, forever? They'll be back Sunday, not at 1, but at 5 at PPG Paints Arena to accommodate the AFC wildcard game taking on Tampa Bay. Why have they been off so long?
As I understand it, Rob, it's a collectively bargained for week break in the middle of the hockey season, which I don't like it. I mean, especially coming off of a 3-day Christmas holiday that the teams have had. So really, this last few weeks has been kind of a casual time for the Penguins.
All right, tell them about Sip and Paint, and we're going home.
Well, Sip and Paint is really come off into a great business for Pam. Yeah, it's making her a little bit crazy. She's been very busy, but it's been awesome. We got a really interesting thing coming up for Valentine's Day where folks can come in as couples. You get kind of matching pictures. One plays off of the other. A champagne bottle pouring into a wine wine glass. It's really going to be a fun event. We're really looking forward to that. In fact, we're going to do 2 nights of it, Valentine's Day itself and then the weekend preceding. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
On a much more serious note, you know, we like to have fun, we like to talk about beer, but one thing, and these people will all tell you, I'm very responsible. You don't drink and drive, it's just not a good idea. He's an attorney by law, and of course he'll tell you, representing DUI clients, it can cause you a lot of trouble. When you've got Zipcar and you've got Uber, there's no reason to drink and drive or get a designated driver, but you need to tell the folks from a legal standpoint, this is something they don't want to have happen to them.
It really is, Rob. It can be very expensive, not just with regard to the legal fees that you have involved. I mean, my legal fees are probably among the most reasonable in the city with regard to handling DUI cases, but when you talk about the fines that are involved and the increases in your insurance that happen as a result of a DUI, it's really a tough thing to get involved with. Whatever you do, whether it's call a friend, get an Uber, take a Zipcar, one of those, or Z-Trip, get some type of a way to stay off the roads, not only worrying about the expense of it, but you don't want to hurt yourself or somebody else. It really ruins lives.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a great rest of the night. Stay warm, and don't forget we've got lots of milk and toilet paper and bread here at Coons Market. If you're afraid to go out and you want to stock up for the weekend, don't forget AccuWeather throughout the week as well on News Radio 1020 KDK to keep you abreast of all of the impending weather, including 9 degrees come kickoff time Sunday at 1. Back here again Sunday, Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday show at 11. Good night.
Good night, everybody.